that was a fantastic movie. Like, that was really well put together. I don't really get all this negative talk about it's too much about feminism and all that. And let me go back to my angry nerd comment earlier. What I want to say is, look, you don't got to watch the thing. You don't have to watch it. You cannot watch it. I think most of you are angry because your money does depend on people watching your show. And that is the actual reason you're watching it, and that's why you're upset. Because now your job conflicts with your tastes. But if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. If you don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. And I know that you're not really sincerely doing it sometimes. And I don't appreciate that as a viewer of content. What I like about Kinda Funny and Comic Book Girl 19, the reason I refer to them the most, and definitely Black Nerd, if I'm in a mood, I'll watch the three of them because I know they're going to have a positive attitude about it. They understand that they have a choice in what they're watching, and they're not bumming me out. And I don't go to YouTube to get bummed out and angry. I'm sick of that. I'll do that plenty on my own. And to the extent of talking about Barbie, again, I'm not angry. I don't think it's bad cinema at all. I think it's actually what's fantastic about that movie is it reminded me of the experience of watching the Flintstones and the Coneheads. I feel like I'm perfectly in another world while I'm there. And it's a comedy, it's light, and there is a feminist spin, but it's a woman making the movie. She has her point of view on the world. And if it's a bit feminist, that's okay. That's another point of view on the world. What do you think it's like for women to watch, so many decades of action heroes of men who are just muscly, tough, do the right thing, and they're just supposed to fall at their feet by the end of the movie? What do you think that's like as a cultural experience for women to only be the prize for you? Do you think that's something that they feel valued about? Or, oh, I'm just here to scream and, oh, fall into your arms. And when you angry nerds say she, you sound like a sexist pig. You sound like a sexist pig who just wants to see a muscly man have a woman fall into his arms. And that's fine if you want that. But hey, go watch Conan the Barbarian. That stuff is still out there. It's still available to you. They're not getting rid of it. I think it's perfectly fine for a woman to have her point of view and to express that through a film, as long as it's not in some kind of condescending way. And I don't feel like Barbie was like that. I honestly feel when Barbie begins and she is floating down from her house to her car, when she's taking a shower and there's no water, and she's eating food and she's not actually eating, that's the experience of playing with the toy. And when the boys take over, that reminded me a lot of, I would play with Barbies as a kid. And that reminded me of playing with Barbies with my sister because she wanted someone to play with. But then I also had, in my generation, it was Max Steel. I didn't have G.I. Joe. We had Max Steel, which was a computer animated show of a high school teenager who was also a spy. But Max Steel was the one that had Barbie sized toys. And so I'd be like, man, I wish I had more toys to play with. There's really just these two guys. I mean, there was a couple of variations of them, but there's just these two guys, really. And I don't want to just have them fight. I want other characters. I want to have more story. I want to have an environment. And my sister had the little Barbie playhouse. And so me and my little sister were very close, and we would have a deal where for the first half an hour or so, we play her game. So it's a romance game, or it's a we're just friends game where Barbie and Ken are just being friends and being friendly and hee 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 hee. And then, but just by about the time, whenever she was done and ready, it was my time to take over the storytelling, and she would play with me. And like, oh, Max Steel has got to save Barbie because metal arm guys. And oh, Max Steel's the man, and he gets the girl, and that's what it's all about. Oh, that's what good storytelling. That's what men like that, boys like that. We're men. Okay, and that, and that's where it would go, and very much that's what happens in this movie, where the guys take over, and the what I love about the movie is there is a good story about Ken and all the Kens in Barbie Land, that they're really just as much an accessory to Barbie as all of the products that there is. Ken does not have his own vehicles. He does not have his own house. And that's okay, because these are toys that are for girls. And so they don't need to have a world for the guy characters just as much as when you buy Batman in the Batcave, are you getting a Catwoman lair or Catwoman's apartment? Are you getting, Mr. Freeze gets a lair, but Catwoman doesn't. That means, what does that mean psychologically? On the boy side of collecting toys, is that it's about the guy and you're in his universe, in his house, and even Poison Ivy, who's a main villain, doesn't get her own lair. So what does that say about the psychology going on in making toys for boys, and that girls can't have that too? I think that's it's just about being fair. And I'm sorry this is a hard transition for some of you macho nerds out there, but you're just being so much of a jock as any guy who bullied you when you were growing up. So I don't think you're really helping the conversation here. MCU, because She-Hulk sucks, the whole MCU sucks. I'm sorry. No, Hulk has not had a fair hand since Incredible Hulk, so I don't even know what you're talking about here. It's not like and he's complaining about the Marvel Cinematic Universe being bad. People were not happy in Phase 2, and people had mixed feelings about Phase 3 until Endgame and Infinity War turned people around. I don't know what you nerds are freaking out about all the time. Always this instant emotional anger. But the whole point of the product is to have confidence in yourself and to be respectful to other people. And you don't learn that lesson. All you care about is what upsets you about the movie. You don't actually pay attention to what the movie's about.